Have you ever struggled with bleeding gums, or maybe you were diagnosed by your dentist with gingivitis? My sad confession is that I was earlier this year, and boy, was it a painful experience. At my most recent dental exam, my dentist was shocked at the complete turnaround and actually said that I don't have gingivitis anymore. Now, I asked my community if you wanted to know how I stopped horribly painful bleeding gums and reversed gingivitis in about 6 months, and you said yes. So I figured I'd share what happened and the products that I use to help me accomplish this. After months of living under a ton of stress, dealing with family matters, I started to experience bleeding gums every single time I brushed my teeth. Admittedly, I probably wasn't being as diligent as I could have been with my dental routine. And yes, I was brushing my teeth daily, but I wasn't consistently flossing, nor did I use any additional mouth rinse, especially since so many of the dental guests I've had on the show warn of issues created with alcohol-based products. Then I began having this really intense tooth pain in one of my lower right molars. This one spot became extremely sensitive even to the touch and was quite irritated. I couldn't even stand to really brush it, let alone have something touch it that was very hot or cold. And if that wasn't bad enough, I also started getting these weird spots on my gums that would feel like they were burned by something much too hot. You know, like when you eat a piece of pizza and the cheese sticks to the roof of your mouth, except I didn't eat any pizza. I didn't eat anything that was too hot. And one area of my gum would become really angry and painful to the point where I actually had trouble even eating, period. And I worried that maybe this was some sort of infection because I didn't eat anything hot, like I said. And as the pain got worse, I contacted my dentist, who suggested that I try gargling with warm salt water first. And yes, it did help. It was helpful, but I was concerned that something was really wrong, given that I had these 3 issues that seemed to start around the same time. At my 6-month appointment the following week, it seemed like things took a turn for the worse. While I've been pretty lucky with my dental health, especially being in my 40s and only having had one cavity ever, yes, one cavity, this dental cleaning was one of the most painful dental experiences I've ever had. I assure you it wasn't my dental hygienist. She was very knowledgeable and I had had her clean my teeth before, so it wasn't her. It was my gums, which were so inflamed that I found myself trying to slide down the chair away from her tools because of how painful every movement was to try and clean the plaque off my teeth. I imagine that some of you may have had this experience of wanting to literally get up out of the dental chair and leave. I had tears, you guys, tears streaming down my face, just trying to mentally get through it all. My gums were bleeding a ton, as well as being extremely swollen and inflamed. And as she finally wrapped up what felt like hours of torture, she apologized for how much pain I was in, but explained the reason that I was so uncomfortable was because I had pretty bad gingivitis. Then the dentist came in to discuss everything and explained further that I was starting to develop these, what they call deep pockets, which can lead to periodontal disease. Since this runs in my family, I'd need to start coming in every 3 months now, because I'm doing 6 months. They want me in every 3 months so that hopefully more care for my teeth would reduce the inflammation, in addition to me doing a better job at home. So I promised that I'd completely turn things around and ask them to give me 6 months to prove it to them. Now, obviously, you've already guessed that what I did massively helped, so let's talk about it. I think it's worthwhile to mention that I really like my dentist, but I don't necessarily agree with the products that he recommends. He's pretty conventional. And that said, I did take the pointers he advised about brushing habits, flossing, and mouthwash, using a lot of the knowledge that I've learned from interviewing dental experts. It was now painfully clear to me, yes, pun intended, that I needed to spend about 2 to 3 minutes twice a day brushing my teeth. I already used an electric toothbrush, so there was nothing to swap out there. And since I wasn't flossing much at all because it was painful and it made my gums bleed, I accepted that this was a necessary addition that I just have to get used to. The dentist promised that the more consistently I flossed, the less painful it would become and would actually stop the bleeding gums. So I planned to floss every night to remove food particles from between my teeth that my toothbrush wasn't actually getting to. And lastly, I said that I would use mouthwash or some sort of mouthwash product daily. What I didn't say is that I was going to use the alcohol-based mouthwashes they recommended. Rather than arguing with them, I embraced these habit changes and focused on finding dental products that could address my needs and concerns that included, first, the tooth sensitivity that I was experiencing in my molar. The second was the weird burning gum patches that would show up without any clear reason. The third was finding products that were fluoride-free and alcohol-free that would support my oral microbiome. And fourth, I wanted to just overall have a cleaner ingredient deck that I was using in all the products that I picked. I also discovered in this process that many of the conventional and widely available dental floss products are coated with Teflon. So my aversion to those products was actually warranted. So again, it was really just a process that I needed to go through to find cleaner alternatives that I felt comfortable with. Since I wasn't interested in sliding Teflon between my teeth, I tried out the Scrubby Mint Dental Floss from Risewell, which also contains hydroxyapatite. I really ended up liking it because it's not a sharp-edged tape-style floss, which felt like I was constantly cutting into my gums. As for my toothpaste, I ended up going with 3 different products. In the morning, I brush with the mineral toothpaste from Risewell, which again contains hydroxyapatite. Within 10 days of starting this, the sensitive spot on my molar completely went away and has never returned. If you're interested in learning more about the benefits of hydroxyapatite, a new study was published about 2 weeks ago on July 18th, 2023 in Frontiers of Public Health called Caries Preventing Effect of a Hydroxyapatite Toothpaste in Adults, an 18-month double-blind randomized clinical trial showing that its effects on preventing cavities are very comparable to fluoride toothpaste. Now, in the evening, I brush with Dental Sidon to help with making positive shifts to the oral microbiome based on the hunch that I had about the weird burning spots that would show up on my gums that the dentist couldn't explain. And then, twice a week, I would swap out the evening toothpaste to brush with Redmond's tooth powder with charcoal to slowly remove any tartar buildup from my teeth. I especially focused on areas where I'm prone to getting plaque buildup, and you can actually use a coupon code Healthy Skin Show to get 15% off your entire purchase at Redmond's website if you want to check it out. As for the mouthwash, I again went with 2 very different products, alternating them every other day. I used the Balancing Mouthwash from Risewell, which contains xylitol, an important ingredient that can support a healthy oral microbiome. And I swapped that with the Dental Sidon LS Liposomal Rinse, which again is supportive of reducing unfriendly microbes. I swished 2 pumps in my mouth for a couple of minutes before spitting it out. While all of this might seem like overkill, intense pain is certainly a huge motivator. Besides the pain, I've seen firsthand what close family members have dealt with living with periodontal disease. So I knew that this was a potential make or break moment and I needed to make some significant changes. I was diligent with this routine for 5 months leading up to my 6-month follow-up cleaning. And even before I saw my dentist, I noticed that I no longer had any issues with bleeding gums. There appeared to me to be noticeably less plaque buildup behind my lower front teeth. I wasn't getting any of those burning gum patches. That, thankfully, had completely stopped after the 3rd month of this routine, and my tooth was no longer painfully sensitive. And the cleaning was pretty close to a breeze, not only because it was not painful, but the amount of times the hygienist needed to use her pokey tools to scrape my teeth was pretty minimal. I asked her if she saw an improvement, and if so, how much of an improvement did she see, hoping that she'd notice the amount of work that I'd put in. She said, "Not only do you not have gingivitis anymore, but your teeth and gums are 90% better than when you were here 6 months ago." And both she and my dentist were extremely impressed that I kept my promise to put the work in and to get my dental health back on track. And honestly, I wasn't sure if I was going to stick with this. Yes, despite all of the pain that I experienced, or if I could even get back to a place where I no longer had gingivitis anymore. But I was able to make it happen, and I'm really glad that I could work on my oral microbiome and support cavity prevention. But I was able to make it happen, and I'm really glad that I could work on my oral microbiome and support cavity prevention. I hope this helps you and also reminds you that it is absolutely possible to improve your oral health, especially if you aren't comfortable using the conventional dental products on the market. I also have other episodes on oral microbiome health and how it's helpful for chronic skin problems. So if you want to learn more, I'll link up the full episode and resources from this episode at skinterrupt.com/303, which I'll also link for you in the description below. And if this episode is helpful, hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button so you never miss the daily content shared here on my channel. I always appreciate the support. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'm excited to dive deeper with you in the next episode.